What is up, everyone? Welcome to Wednesday and another episode of Ken versus 10. I'm going to bring my guest in right away. We got Brian over here from Jack's Treasures
What
joining
is
us
up,
today.
everybody? What is up?
I'm
How
going
you
to
doing,
try
Ken?
something a little new. I'm good. How are you? How are you?
Can't complain. Living the dream.
So we got
Kristen. Hey, Kristen.
Angie is in here. Angie resells. Can't wait to hear about these storage units. Yeah, we're going to be talking about that today in a kind of a new format that I'm doing, and I'll go over that here in a second. Oh,
Hey, Angie.
I got to turn that off. I got a phone call right in the middle of my show. I don't know. It's my niece calling. Mark is here. Mark Turner is here. What is up, Mark? Ray the Nashville Flipper. This is going to be a disaster. You've probably got that right. And Kristen, a rule squirrel, is here. Kristen and Angie were on with Cat the Nurse Flipper last night. So if you didn't catch that, go find Cat the Nurse Flipper and check out my friends Kristen and Angie on the show.
They're awesome. I loved meeting Angie at the meetup in Nashville. She was so awesome. It was great.
Yes, they are.
And Kristen is going to be a guest on my podcast on this Sunday that we'll be launching this Sunday.
Excellent. And can
I
anybody else see
you freeze?
Brian? Yeah,
Did
Brian froze up a little bit. I think that's what I saw.
I did?
Yes.
Oh,
all of our friends are here. I love it.
Yes. Sorry about that.
So yeah, we're gonna see who pops in here, but I'll explain here what I'm doing or what I'm gonna attempt. I'm thinking of doing Aspen is here. What is up, Aspen? My
Hi,
niece,
Aspen.
the monkey head. Aspen, I was in the middle of the live here, so I couldn't get your phone call. That was Aspen that just called
Judy.
me. My mother is here. Good morning. Oh, hiya, Brian. I'm thinking about doing another kind of a show. I've thought about this for like a long time. And rather than Ken versus 10, this is going to be an addition. I'm still going to do Ken versus 10. And I'm thinking of getting back into nice shirt, Brian. That must be Tracy out and about.
Yeah, Tracy's in the other room.
Oh, yes. Regan is, as my niece's friend Regan is there. And is here from when I was live with you. And yes. Hello, Regan. What is up?
Hi, Regan.
Good to see Billsy Bear is here. Good morning, my friend.
Hello.
Good to see you. Been a minute. Been a minute since I seen you, Billsy. But I'm gonna try to do a show called 10 with Ken rather than Ken versus 10. I'm going to try to get back to listing. I have been really good at listing this week. I'm getting back into stuff because I bought a mini split. I bought a mini split for in my garage office. And in order to get that installed, I have to clean up stuff and move stuff out of the way and do things and so that office space can be a little more comfortable. It's Ray Jen, not Reagan. Ray Jen. Well, it looks like Reagan. What's up, Reagan? What do I know? But
I know I mispronounce names all the time, and I was a teacher, and it was horrible.
yeah, a live listing, I have done Ken versus 10 was originally me taking on 10 items from my death pile and seeing if I can sell them. And I'm going to try to get back to that. But I'm thinking of doing an additional show called Ken with Ken, where I will have guests on. And I'm thinking of doing it a little more towards like a prime time hours. I'm still debating on doing it live or doing it as a pre-record, because I kind of want the topics and stuff to flow, but I want that interaction from the chat with questions for the people. So my guinea pig right over here, Brian from Jack's Treasures is going to come
I hope,
on
I hope I don't
today.
kill this idea in the first episode.
It very well could happen. Actually, I think the over under in Vegas is about 30% that it'll like succeed at this point with you as the first guest.
No doubt.
But I also I might put this video out as a regular like content video. And so I think when we get ready to talk, we're just doing some stuff, you know, greeting the chat and stuff right now. I might
Yeah.
do like an actual introduction to the show. So how's your week been, Brian?
Busy, man. I told Ken last night we were in Cherokee, North Carolina. I take my mother-in-law up to Cherokee, North Carolina. She likes to gamble up there, and it was the first time that we've been we've been up there that she hit big this past weekend. She hit a $10,000 payout on a 75-cent bet. 75-cent bet. She hit a $10,000 payout. So it was great for that because she paid for everything that after that point on the thing. But just really super busy with whatnot. Just getting stuff organized for our next storage unit. Tracy is itching for another storage unit.
Yeah, it's always fun, that initial crack open that door and start to see where it's at. And so we're going to talk about storage units, and I kind of want to do the shows, the 10 with Ken. Some of it's going to be fun, some of it's going to be, you know, just information. But my vision is a little bit to have it be, if somebody was interested in whatever the topic is, maybe this one is storage units, maybe it's going to be a plush show about finding plush and brands and, you know, what you do and that sort of stuff. You know,
without Jack's Treasures in that one, I don't know plush.
Yes. No, yeah. Jack doesn't get to be on, or Brian doesn't get to be on all of them.
Yes.
This is not a collaboration.
Yeah. Nobody wants to collab with me, I've noticed.
Well, maybe you need to look deep into your soul, Brian, and try to decide what you think is happening.
Yeah, no doubt.
I know initially here that Susan will not be in the chat today because I just saw Susan right before the show. That's why I was running late into the show to you know, get the stuff going. But see this great big mini and this little Abby from Sesame Street, these plush back here. Susan found those. Her neighbors were moving and they were just getting rid of a bunch of stuff. They had like a big dumpster out there and they were just throwing all kinds of stuff away. And so she pulled these couple of things out and said, "Hey, you know, are you interested in these?" I'm like, "Heck yeah, I'll take a couple nice, cool plush." And so she's not in there. She might show up. Bama Jaybird, Josh is here. Hello, all. Ken,
Yeah,
I've been missing getting to hang out during your live show. Hope you and Brian and everyone in the chat are doing well. Yes, it's good to see you for sure. And missing the two old guys as well.
Yes,
Apex,
definitely. I'm missing that. Yeah.
I will, Jeff.
Can I remove him? Do I have the power to remove him?
I don't think you're a mod. Well, yeah, I guess you do have mod status, but I will let anybody on the show.
Oh my
I have very low standards. I do. Scraping the barrel.
Thank you, Mike. Yes. I have a fan. There we go. Mike, there it is.
Oh, and for Ken too. I appreciate that, Mike. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, you do miss stuff. We're on a little break, Corey and I, over on the Unemployed for a Living podcast. Kind of taking a spring into summer little break because it's such a busy time with those of us that live in areas that don't have yard sales all year long. We gotta make hay while the, what is it? Make hay while it's not raining or something like. Somebody tell me what that saying is. You got to make hay. What is up, Brendan? Big Time Flips is here.
Yeah. What's up, Brendan?
Brian is his best friend. Now he's pandering. Now he's pandering.
I love Jeff. I really do. We're going to be seeing Jeff in August, I think.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Everybody just saying hi. Yeah, make hay when the sun shines. There you go, Mike. See, Mike knows. Mike knows all
Mike
the
knows
sayings.
this, and he's a city guy. He's a city guy.
But he's an old soul, like the rest of us here. He knows these old farmers' almanac sayings and stuff like that. Blessed and busy is Josh over there. Bama Jaybird Resell. You got it. There you go. There's another one. You got to strike when the iron is hot.
Like
Another great. Are those metaphors? Is that what that's called? Is that a metaphor, or maybe not? Or is it just
I did not teach language arts, and I am not going to say nothing, because if I do, Tracy will point it out in a heartbeat.
They got lots of hay there in New York.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about some of this stuff. We might as well hop into the show. I didn't know if I talked about Susan. I don't know if Paul is lurking in the background.
I think he's live
or not
on Whatnot.
Oh, Paul is live right now on Whatnot.
I think so. I think I saw him go live a minute ago.
Much like Jack's Treasures. Yeah, he is live. $3 new inventory pull clothing. Okay. I seen
in the storage unit category too. I noticed that part too.
Yes, for sure. So, again, for those of you that are popping in, I'm also waiting to see Jill come in here. I'm gonna do a new kind of a segment called a proverb. That might be it. A proverb.
See, that's why I didn't say nothing, because I was not going to say proverb. So,
yeah, definitely get out to those meetups. Yeah, life sometimes gets in the way of fun. Well, that's usually what happens. We can't have fun all the time. Nothing. Tell Brian he needs to buy one. God. Okay. That is Tracy for sure. Confirmed that she wants a new storage unit. So I am going. Like I said, I thought about doing this segment, this new Ken with Ken. So what I'm going to do is here in just a minute, I'm going to reintroduce, because I might cut this part out and make it a regular video.
Right.
And so I might. Kind of start and reintroduce. Oh, I should have put my new, I should have put the logo, the 10 with Ken logo up in the corner.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, it kind of contrasting colors of the Ken versus 10. And Jeff is deciding whether to take a nap while listening to the show or crossless.
Oh God.
But I want to get to it, because some people are here to hear about storage units and buying storage units and such. I would go with the nap if it were me.
Can I mention the meetup that's happening? Bama Jaybird said something about getting to some of the meetups. There's one in Northeast Tennessee. Is that okay if I mention that one?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, the Locker Room boys are putting that together.
The Locker Room guys over there are hosting one with Mike Medco and Mary McQueen, and it's on September the 26th through the 28th. It's in Greenville, Tennessee. So it's going to be a really, really good time on that one. And I know they have a Facebook group that you can go and check out. They already have a bunch of stuff lined up for everybody too.
Yeah, that is cool. So either check out Locker Room, the Locker Room podcast. There's information there. Check out that Facebook page that they put together. I imagine it has the East Tennessee meetup or something to it. Or check out Mike Medco.
Yeah.
Northeast Tennessee.
Yeah.
or check out Mike Metco meetups. They have all the information on all of the meetups that are around. Between Mike and Mary keeping tabs on Mike over there. She's really the backbone, I think we can say, of that organization. Just getting all the posts out, getting all the information out.
Hmm.
Oh no, another video branding change. Can we take it? This is going to be a whole different show, Mike. Whole different show, but still on this channel. And there is my Jilly Jill. There is Jill right there in the
Hey, Jill.
house. So
1
we got a
week.
yes.
1 week.
Going to be hanging out with Brian and Tracy here in about a week at a citywide. They're going to come up here to Ohio, and we're just going to rain or shine. We're going to have a blast. And what is it now? Nine more sleeps? 8 more sleeps?
Know that we're hitting the road on
Please.
Wednesday, stopping in Louisville, and then we're going to see you on Thursday at the
Wednesday
first
night,
citywide
Thursday,
sale.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we'll see you on Thursday. So 8 more sleeps. 8
Yep.
more sleeps. And there's everybody's saying hi to Jill. So I'm gonna try this.
Raz is in the
We'll
show
just-
too, and he has 2 new songs coming out.
Raz. Oh, how did I miss that? There we go.
There you
Raz
go.
is a regular here every week. 2 new songs coming out on Friday and Saturday. Look out for that. House, a Peyton Manning parody, and Farts, my favorite version. Oh, does it mention Jill by any chance? And
Oh no.
because if you were on here last week, we were talking about Jill. Well, she practically exploded right in the middle of a whatnot show, and on live on the air. I can't believe this. What's up, Frizzy? What is up, Frizzy? Johnny
Frizzy.
is here. Got to meet them in Nashville at the Nashville meetup. We've done some videos and some podcast stuff together in the past, but never got to meet. The reselling community loves each other and can't wait to see one another again. Yes, family and community.
Yeah.
You were here lying to your friends last week. I don't know. I still have a burn mark in my carpet that would prove it was in the area you were standing in. There are different kinds of explosions, Ken. There are. So I'm gonna introduce them. We're gonna start talking about storage units. And hearsay, Ken. Only hearsay. I don't know. It wasn't hearsay. There was a few more senses that were involved with that. It's a true story about a woman whose boyfriend farted in front of her and it got stuck for 7 years. Wait, go check out Razilla's Realm. Go check out Raz's channel on YouTube. 2 new videos dropping this weekend, Friday and Saturday. So I'm gonna pause for a second just to so I can have like a little bit of an edit point. We're at what, about 19 minutes, 20 minutes, we'll say, somewhere around in there. I think she's talking about me, folks. So, okay, here we go.
Well, I've only known her for a year, so it's not me.
This is true. Yes,
Yeah.
we have been together for 35
Wow.
great years. This year, coming up in October. Is it 30? Are we finishing 35 or is it at 35 or 36 or where are we at? I forget. So we are going to, let's get into this. Let's do it, Brian. Let's do it. Let's talk about
You got it.
the ever exciting world of storage units. So I'm going to be, there's Chris. Oh, Chris, I hope you're going to be around. I have a question for you at some point during this.
Yeah, Chris buys a
topic.
lot of storage units too.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
And there's a term that he uses that I can't ever remember what it was. So, okay, we'll pause for a second here and get her going. Hey, welcome to an episode, the first episode that I'm trying here of 10 with Ken. If you follow me, I do Ken versus 10, where I take on items from my death pile and I list them. Well, at least that's what I'm supposed to do on the show. But I thought I'd try a different format called 10 with Ken, where I'm going to have a guest on the show and we're going to have a topic and we'll kind of go through 10 questions, maybe more. Who knows? And we will try to delve into like a topic and but have fun with it. And so today on my trial run to see if this, goes well, I have my friend Brian from Jack's Treasures. What is up, Brian? It is good to see you, my friend.
Always good to spend some time with you, my friend.
I'm going to make you big and you tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Hey, I'm Brian from Jack's Treasures. We are resellers, obviously, a reselling channel. We buy storage units and we resell all those storage units on YouTube, or not YouTube, on Whatnot. And we have our own YouTube channel where we also talk about buying storage units. Every single Monday, we do storage unit tips. So that's us.
And when Brian says he's talking about his extremely better half, Tracy.
She is. I tell you, she picks the storage units way better than I do. Way better than I do. I just buy them.
So, Brian, you're an experienced storage unit buyer. We're going to talk about storage units today. Kind of some of the realities, some of the fun stuff about finds and stick around because we are going to get into some of the numbers of it, some of the things that where Brian, I know some of the units that we've talked about and I've seen on your show, you've come out tens of thousands of dollars ahead in buying the right unit. But we're going to talk about that after a bit because I want to, give people an idea. If anybody's ever watched the show Storage Wars, Brian, have you watched Storage Wars before?
Yeah, Storage Wars is probably where Tracy and I got our first itch of watching that show. And because it was funny, when we got together, when we got married, even before we got married, we had talked about doing all of these different things. Tracy was a reseller. I was a teacher. And so I taught didn't teach. I resold at a very, very slow rate. But when we got together and we got married, we just, I don't know, all of a sudden one time it was, we were watching that Storage Wars and it was like, why don't we buy a storage unit? And whenever anything like that happens, it's like within 3 days, we had bought our first 2 storage units.
Very cool. Very cool. So buying storage units is not like Storage Wars. That's a TV show because everything, there's piles of stuff and there's things in there, but for the most part, it's all clean. It's all, it's all boxed up and they always find some super mega treasure in there. And that's not the reality of storage unit buying. And so we're just going to start from the beginning. A question: if somebody was wanting to get into buying storage units for resale, for flipping, for whatever they want to do, the first question is: where do you find the storage units? How do you locate them?
Well, there's 2 different places that you can really find storage units. Probably the most popular one right now is online. There's a couple of websites. One of them is storagetreasures.com. LockerFox is another one. Storageauctions.com. Those are online auctions, and those usually the storage, the auction duration is usually a week. So you have a good deal of time to look and things like that at those. You can also go to live auctions. I would check newspapers in your local area. We only have really 1 or 2. When we first do it pre-COVID era, there was about 3 or 4 companies that we would go to. Now there's only really one that really does it a lot, and they do one like the last Monday of every month, and it's the same
Yeah.
facility, and same people do that. So you can look in the newspapers for them. You can contact facilities, because some of the smaller facilities, you contact them and ask them when they do that. For the
Yeah.
most part, and what I would recommend to anybody is I would look at the ones that are online first. They tend to give you that better batch of information that you're going to need when you're
Okay.
buying your first, especially when you're buying your first unit.
And you can see photos of them when you're at the
Mm.
online ones. You can see photos of, kind of an overall, and then they'll do a little bit of close up pictures. They usually don't go into the
Yeah.
unit and dig through
They're
things, to
they're
so
not
that you
allowed
can
to
see.
go into the unit. Now, I
Yeah.
will say this along with that, with what you said, which was amazing. And I just found this out like a week ago, and I've been buying storage units for 10 years.
Yeah.
U-Haul, the one that is really close to our house, when they put their units up online on one of the auction sites, they
Uh-huh.
hire an outside source to take the
Okay.
pictures. The people that work at the facility, they're actually not allowed to take the pictures.
Okay.
That they use an outside source. So they want to get the best pictures because obviously they want the most money for the storage unit, because the storage units are 9 times out of 10, they're delinquent. There are different types of storage units that you can buy. They're delinquent for the most time. And
Yeah.
so legally they're not allowed to go in there. So what they do is they'll have somebody cut the lock, and then
Uh-huh.
have somebody that take the pictures, and then they put their locks on them and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, they try to take the best pictures that they can do.
And this show, trying this out the first time, whether I want to do, we are live, so we have a
Yeah.
chat as well that we'll get into some questions from them. And Apex Jeff is like, yeah, those Storage Wars units are salted for TV. Yes, they definitely
They
they
definitely are.
definitely are.
I don't
Um,
think they would get the ratings. Obviously, from my videos, there's the proof. We've been doing the storage unit videos
yeah,
for about 4 years. I usually get about 5 people to view, and 2 of them are me because I want to watch it to see how
exactly.
bad it
And
is.
we'll
So
have links
yeah,
down below. You go follow Brian and Tracy over there at Jack's Treasures, and like every Monday they do storage unit talk about stuff. So Brian, second question here is,
okay.
and I know that there's probably a lot that goes into it, but what would you expect to spend? What would somebody that was getting into storage units for the first time, looking at what might they expect to spend for
Wow.
a storage unit?
That is probably one of the toughest questions to answer, because there's so many more considerations to think about. Like,
Yeah.
how big of a unit are you looking for? Are you buying it online, or are you buying it live? Live auction
Okay.
units tend to be cheaper, because you don't have the same amount of people looking at a unit that's online.
Yes.
Online, you're going to have hundreds of people from the general area looking at a unit, and even people from outside the area, like one of the units that we bought.
Yeah.
So you could probably, what I would probably anticipate, I know that for Tracy and I, when we went to live auctions, we usually tried to bring $1,000 with us when we went to live auctions, so that if we
Okay.
saw some units that we really, really wanted, we would have the money to get them. If you're buying them live on online,
Okay.
I would if it was me and it was my first batch of storage units or my first storage unit buy, I would tend to go smaller than bigger.
Like
So
a
you could
5x10
probably,
unit or something like that?
yes, yeah, something that's very, very manageable,
Yeah.
just to get my feet wet. I would probably look to spend probably about maybe $100 to $300, depending
Okay.
on also what you can see in the unit. Like
Okay.
if you can see video games or tools or things like that, the price generally will go way, way
Yeah.
up. If it's a complete mystery like boxes, it
Yeah.
just depends. But that's what I
You
would
take a
probably
chance
say.
and okay. So
Yeah,
somebody can get into it for around 100 to 300. I've heard of people
yeah.
getting a unit for $20 and,
I've got a
20,
unit for
30,
$10.
40 bucks.
I mean,
Okay.
the
It
range
just
that I have
depends.
spent is it goes from the bottom
Yeah.
to the top. And when Tracy and I first started, those $300 units, I call them butt puckers, because when you
Okay.
hit the bid, you're like, crap, I just bid $300. I hope this thing pays off.
On yeah. Well,
And
but that's the excitement though of storage units, because you don't always know. You can see what you can see in the pictures, but if there's
mhm,
stacks of boxes and stacks of tubs and garbage bags, and you never know
yeah,
what's going to be, and that's what's exciting. And I think that's a lot of that what keeps people coming back, or that's the
yeah.
allure and the excitement of it.
Ken,
Um,
by the way, do you remember you were live on Ken versus 10 and I
uh-huh,
was bidding on a storage unit? I sent you
uh-huh.
the link to the storage unit that I was buying, and you saw me bidding on that unit,
Yes.
and you
Yes.
were commenting on his live. So it
A-
was that
a-
was pretty cool.
And that's what's fun. You're watching those bids, you're waiting for that time to
Mhm.
count down. Am I gonna get it? Is somebody gonna snipe me right at the end? And it's like, and then you gotta I add a word of advice that I would give to people is don't get caught up in the hype of the excitement of the bid. Be reasonable. Know the monies that you can spend. Now, this only applies to storage units. If you're over at SSK Promo or Jack's Treasures Whatnot show and you're
Oh yeah, yeah,
bidding
yeah, yeah.
and get into the hype. Just swipe, 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 and just bid it up. Yeah,
Yes.
but of course you can see what you're getting when
Yeah,
you're doing the Whatnot shows. But
come to think of it, what you just
so
said, the unit
yeah,
that I sent you, you remember, I didn't win it. Remember,
yeah,
I think it went too high, and then Tracy and I went and found another unit, and we bid on that one, and we ended up
yeah.
winning on that one. I actually do remember that now.
So let's just say you said $100 to $300. Okay, we're just going to throw out a number. Let's say $200. Let's say
Hmm.
you buy a unit, you get this mystery unit, and it's a 10 by 10 unit. That's a common size for units. That's
Very,
kind of a mid
very.
range. There's bigger 10 by 20s. There's the 5 by 10s, and then there's big massive units that are super
Yeah.
full. But let's just say you're doing a 10 by 10 unit, okay?
Okay.
And you win that for $200.
All right.
Talk about a little bit of other expenses. Now I know they usually charge like a what is the fee? Like some places
They
charge
have
an
two
additional.
levels on there. One of them's
Uh-huh.
if you're a premier buyer, you can apply to be a premier buyer, which is like a monthly rate, if I'm not mistaken. Tracy
Okay.
knows more about all of that stuff. But as a premier buyer, you get lower fees from the
Okay.
auction house, whatever the
And
auction
a
house may
deposit.
be.
That's the word that I'm
Yes, you
talking
do.
about. A deposit, about whether
Oh,
or
a
not you
cleaning
get the
deposit.
and buyer's premiums.
Yeah,
Yes.
buyer's premium. That's what she's talking about. Because we have to pay fees when we are buying the storage unit online to whatever the online site is. They charge a certain
Yeah.
percentage to sell it, sort of just like eBay or whatnot or District or whatever it is. They have fees whenever you buy anything like that.
Yeah, and a
Then you have a
cleaning
cleaning
deposit.
deposit, which that depends on the facility completely. And when you're buying the auction unit, especially online, it'll tell you what the cleaning deposit is, cleaning time, and it'll tell
Yeah.
you all of those things. So that's one of the things. And if you're buying a 10 by 10, depending on your specific situation, like I have a truck, I had a trailer, I just got rid of a trailer. But if I had a 10 by 10 and weather conditions are really good, I would just pick it up with my truck and my trailer. But I
Uh-huh.
might have to rent a U-Haul, especially if it's completely full, which
Yeah.
then you're talking about U-Haul rental fees, the gas fees, and all of those types of fees. But your general fees that you're always going to pay are your fees for buying the unit on the
The
Pacific
buyer's
site
premium.
whatsoever. The buyer's premium, if you're a buyer premium, you don't have to be a buyer's premium. You don't have
So
to pay a
that
buyer's
that might a buyer's premium might add another what, 10, 15%, something like that. I don't know, what are the rates normally for a if you're not a premium member, what is the buyer's premium is
I think the
a
buyer's premium is
extra
between
fee.
8 and 10%, and
Okay.
a regular one is between 15 and 20%. I think I'm not
Okay. That
100%
you're
sure.
going to pay
And
in addition to your winning bid.
right, and it's based on your winning bid. So
Yes.
if I bid 200 and I'm at 10%, then I'll pay the $20. If I pay
Yeah.
$2,000, then I'm paying $200 on a
Yes.
buyer's premium.
Okay.
So you definitely
So,
want to take that into
and
account.
then that cleaning deposit, you get those refunded back to you if you clean the entire unit and you have it all swept out, clean, ready to go.
Oh yeah,
So
and you
that's
want to do that. What he
yes.
just said, you've got to do that. If you do not
Yeah.
do that, you can get
So
literally kicked off of the off of the sites. I had one time. I had to appeal because a facility said that I
okay.
cherry picked a site and I left some stuff and I did not leave anything. And I contacted storagetreasures.com and I said, no, I did not do that.
Yeah.
They said that I did, but somebody else did that. And there's also been a time where one buyer I know bought a unit and they left the unit open, and another guy took a mattress out of one unit and took it to his unit
And
and put
put
it
it,
in the unit.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
they
that
had
can
it all on
happen.
camera.
People
Mm-hmm.
so Tracy, who's going in from the background here, usually 15% of a fee of a buyer's premium fee. If you're a member, it's like 10%, but each site is different. Sometimes they waive those for manager special units.
I was close. I was very
So
close.
yeah, well, and we're just kind of given, general. So the people that understand that if you pay $200 for a unit, you're going to have that extra 15%, which is going to be another $30 on top of that. And then you're going to have to initially pay that clean out fee, which you would get returned if you do
Mm-hmm.
that. So, but okay. And there may be,
And
if you
Raz,
don't
I've
have a
done that
truck, if you
too.
don't have a trailer, done what from?
Raz says that one time he did the flawless impersonation of Hester's Yup call and ran up the
Yeah.
guy to $1,000. I've done that at some live auctions too.
Oh, it's
It's
the
fun to
one
do that.
reason. That's the one reason that I can't watch Storage Wars. It's entertaining, but when that guy is, yup, I just want to punch him right in his face.
He's actually one of my favorite.
And this is a good question here coming from Angie, and that's coming up here in just a second, because I'm kind of getting initial things. You have to find where these units are, and you have to buy one,
Yep.
and some of those fees and stuff. When you go to clean out a unit, if you were going for the, you've done it many, many, many times, as have I. What are some basic supplies? Like if you were to tell somebody, make sure you take this along with you, which if you want to know a little bit deeper on this, go watch one of the last Monday's video on Jack's Treasures, and they
Yes.
talk about some of this, some seasonal things you might want to bring. But what's your basic set? What's your basic toolkit when you show up at a unit?
Mm-hmm. Well, some of the stuff that we always bring to storage units, one is locks and different types of locks, because I don't know what type of lock that storage unit facility is going to have. And if I buy it there, it's 10 times what it would be anywhere else. So you want to have locks with you. You also want to have gloves. Okay. Some of these units are really, really bad.
Yes.
Rat infested, whatever it may be in there. So you want to have a good pair of work gloves. Now, I don't get the big puffy gloves that you do, because I can't grab things with those. So I like the thinner ones that are, I call them mechanics gloves, because they can grip stuff a little bit better. I prefer steel-toed shoes. And me and you were talking about that yesterday. If you drop something on your foot in one of those units, it'll crush your toes, like a refrigerator or one of those washers and dryers. So I do steel-toed shoes. I always bring trash bags. I always bring, and I do the industrial carpenter grade trash bags, because they can hold more. And this is something new that I bring too, is I bring packing tape. A lot of people don't believe that, but I bring packing tape so I can tape the bags, the trash bags, closed, so I can throw them on the back of my truck, and I don't have to worry them opening up and then spreading the trash everywhere. I bring those. We do bring masks for us. I don't usually blow out the storage units. I usually sweep them, but I do bring a mask just in case. We have masks in my truck. My truck's got RAM boxes on the side, so I have all of this in stuff. Tie down straps. You have to
And
have those for when you're
yes,
inside of a truck, in a trailer, in a truck. I got to have those
yeah.
things. Biosuit would be amazing to
A
have.
bio
Yeah.
Jill Cherka is saying yes, a
Yes.
biohazard suit, which is
Yeah.
sometimes when you get into these units, you definitely want to
Yeah. I'm not going to
protect
be bringing my
yourself.
Sunday. I'm not wearing my Sunday best when I go to store clean out a storage unit.
Yeah,
I bring bolt cutters for myself only because sometimes I put a lock on a door and I lost the key or I lose the key, and
yeah,
then I could
okay.
just so I bring bolt cutters with me. Flashlights. I bring a flashlight with you so you can check inside the
Yeah, a
unit because
lot
some
of
of
the
these
outdoor
units.
units do not have power. They don't have power. They
Mhm,
don't have lights in there. So yeah, you want to be able to see, especially if you're out in the middle of the day, or if
mhm.
it gets a little bit later and you're on a shaded side of where the units are. Yeah, definitely a
Yeah.
flashlight is great.
And what we talked about on Monday with the seasonal one during the summer and even during the winter is you want to bring waters with you because you want to stay
Yeah,
hydrated.
stay hydrated and
Especially summertime, it gets brutally hot here. As a matter of fact, it's very hot here in Georgia. I'm in Georgia, and doing storage units is out, especially outside with what you just said.
yeah.
Please stay hydrated. It's
Yeah.
the
Some of the other things that I bring a few like cleaning supplies that if I want to wipe some stuff off, just like a spray of something, an
yeah.
array of different rags, paper towel. I like to have a box cutter or a box knife to if people have taped up a lot of their boxes. I like to get, be able to get into stuff easily
Do that
and
sneak peek.
just a basic toolkit, you know,
Mhm.
some screwdrivers, things like that. If you got to open something up or get into something, a hammer, that sort of. And I have a bag. Actually, my bag is a bag that I found in a storage unit, and it
Mhm.
says Chris is crocheting on the side of it. It's this big green, but it's a nice big handled bag. Definitely a broom, dustpan, that
Okay.
sort of stuff to be able to sweep up
Mhm.
and clean out. I always take my, yeah, definitely a knife. Uh,
Mhm.
and you know what, Glenn? This is in my toolkit. This is in my toolkit. An empty bottle to pee in. Now, for the guys, it's a whole lot easier to do that. Um, but yeah, there a lot of times if you're at an outdoor unit or depending on the facility that you're at, there's not a restroom for you to use. Um,
I haven't had that problem, but
and
mainly
if you have
because
to,
most of the units that I'm in are not in a very rural area. I can see that as a
yeah,
problem. Is if I went out into definitely more of a rural area being a problem.
Jill would drive home at that point. Um, and yes, Raz is saying a leaf blower. I actually, when
Mhm.
I'm all done with a unit, I will take my gas powered leaf blower in there, and after I've swept all of the heavy stuff out of the corners and stuff, I will I blow out the unit. I don't want to blow a bunch of trash and garbage into the driveway or into,
Right, right.
out of the day, but all of that and then blow up around in the corners and things like that to get all of the like cobwebs and stuff like that out of there. But at that point, I'm always wearing safety goggles and a mask and make sure I've got my head covered up
Right.
and gloves and everything on. Okay,
Another thing
so
that you want to look for too, and I hate to
yeah,
cut you off on that one, is sometimes you need to bring some boxes, flat boxes,
yes,
because sometimes people don't pack things in the unit. They might look like it, like you might buy a unit and it's got all of these tubs in the unit, and then you get behind the tubs and there's just stuff in
just
bags like
piles. Yes.
Walmart bags or Goodwill bags or stuff like that, and none of that is packed. So we tend to bring a couple of extra tubs for us anyway. So I'll throw a lot of stuff into tubs, especially if I know that I'm close to a Goodwill or
Yeah.
something like that. We bring in boxes. We tend to bring in a lot of extra boxes.
I want to go back up here to this question then was along with my list. I'm going to jump ahead where Angie Resells is asking,
Hmm.
where do you dump all the garbage from the units? How are you dealing? Because let's face it, in a lot of times in a storage unit, you might what if you had to pick a percentage, maybe 10% of the stuff is actually good that you're going to use, and a lot of it is just trash garbage, things that you need to move along quickly. How are you dealing with all of the trash from a unit?
Well, when you get a unit, for me, I always look at a unit and I say, okay, that unit right there is going to be at least 30%. I'm going to be taking straight to trash. Now, I'm not talking
Yeah.
about stuff that I'm not going to do stuff with, like either take it to Goodwill or consignment or
Yeah.
whatever that might be. But for straight trash, which I don't understand why people feel that it is necessary to store trash, but they do. And
They
so
do.
we put it in the trash bags, we tape up the trash bags, and then I have to account for it by, you're not allowed to dump at the storage facility. Do not take it to the storage
Yeah.
facility and dump it in there unless you get specific permission to do so, or you make a deal with the manager, which I've done that one time before, where he had
Yeah.
another unit and he said, hey, would you clean that out? And I said, yeah, I'll clean it out if you let me use your dumpster. And he said,
Yeah.
yes, I could do that. Then you could do that. But 9 times out of 10, you're not allowed to do that. So we factor in either going to take into the dump, depending on how much that I normally get. If it's
Yeah.
papers or something like that, we had a burn barrel at our house, and we would put a
Okay.
lot of the stuff in the burn barrel and we would burn it. If it was Corey, where Grams and Pops vintage, where they bought storage units and they got a lot of mattresses and stuff like that, and they're out on a 10-acre farm, they go
Yeah.
and they burn it.
Yeah.
I've done that. I
But
have burned a mattress before. I did it one time at my house because I had a little bit of a land, and I did it one time, and I said I'm not doing it again because I think the wind changed
yeah.
and it blew everything into the house. So
So
most of the time, you end up having to take it to the dump.
if you don't have, yeah, access to a dumpster or something of that nature, that is another expense, another fee that you have to
Hmm.
factor in your mind. How much is your local dumping, the dump, a transfer facility, whatever you have in your area? What is that minimum amount? And then also knowing it's very hard to get rid of stuff like mattresses, big mattresses, and it's hard to get rid of things like tube or the old tube TVs. Or
Yes.
I've got stuff out of units where there's old cans of paint and there's old cans of motor oil and there's old
Hmm.
things that you can't just
I've
dump out in
discovered
the
what you can do
environment.
with paint,
Okay.
and even if it's dried up, high
Just repaint your
schools,
house.
yeah, high schools love paint. Even if it's dried up, no matter what, how much is in the can,
Yeah.
they'll take just the empty can. If they
Yeah.
have an art department at the school, we have donated like multiple tubs of just old paint and spray cans of paint and all of that, because they won't take them at dumps, or
Yeah.
legally they won't
And
take them at dumps, and I don't ever recommend doing anything bad like that.
Glenn is saying, some gamers like old TVs,
Hmm.
depending on the size. I'm dealing with one right now. It's a bigger size 2 TV. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. But okay, so we talked about where you find in the units, how much, that the cost varies and stuff. Um, some of the fees that are involved in it,
Hmm.
what you're doing to get rid of the trash, which is something you have to keep in your mind.
Yes,
Where can
definitely.
you get rid of it? And because most of the time in these units, if you're buying a storage unit, you have what, like 48 to 72 hours to totally clean this unit
Yeah,
out. Is that fair what you're
from the time
seeing?
that you pay for it. From the time that you pay for it, usually you have 2 to 3 days. Sometimes, if you buy a lot of units at the same facility, they'll give
Uh-huh.
you. Sometimes the managers will give you a break, and they'll say, "Okay, we'll give you 5 days or 6 days or whatever it may be." But most of the time, it is a hard, fast 2 to 3 days.
Yes, and or you may lose some of those fees if you're not getting that cleaned out. Now, I know,
Mhm.
uh, Brian, you have had in the past where a unit was either so full or you weren't going to be able to move some of the stuff that you've actually had to rent the unit
I did,
again for another month, um,
actually,
just to be
3.
able to have time. And
Yeah.
so, that again, something that now, if you're picking up units for, some of those ones we talked about, $20, $30, or whatever in a unit. But a lot of them have big. Some of them, and of course, you can look at the pictures, and you can
Yeah.
determine: do I want to bid in it? Do I see a bed
Hey,
frame and a
Susan.
mattress? Do I see a refrigerator in there? Is there a stove? Is there a washer and dryer? And we'll say a couple of hellos. Office Patrick is here. What is up,
Hey, Office
Patrick? We are doing a special kind of a. I should have showed the logo on here. A special version. This is 10 with Ken. That we're talking with Brian from Jack's Treasures about storage units, how to buy them, what to look for, and we're going to get into some of the fun stuff here in just a moment of some of the monies that you might spend or that you might make. What is up? And Susan is here, Allegheny Roots, and we usually do a segment with Susan on here. What's Susan having for lunch? Susan, what are you having for lunch? Let us know. Let us know what you're having for lunch today. So anyway, let's get back to some more useful information about getting storage units.
I don't know what number we're on right now, but we're going long. I know that.
Yeah, yes. We've only done about 5 or something. So let me talk about
I'll try to lower my things down a little bit.
Okay. Some of the in these units, what are you doing? How are you dealing with personal items? And I'm not talking like adult toys and stuff, because you do find that stuff. I'm talking about I'll give information, and I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but you know me, I say stuff. And Susan hasn't gotten lunch yet. What does everybody think she should get while she's out and about?
Oh, that's good. I love that.
And Jeff is up from his nap now, and he is cross-listing. If one were wanting to go into the occupation, I don't know if it's an occupation, of being an identity thief, buying a storage unit. Now, I am in no way condoning identity theft. It is a horrible thing for everybody. But where I'm going with this is, I once found a little a strong box, like a little fireproof safe box, with the lock, which is easy. You stick a screwdriver in there and you give it a good hard turn and it's open, because a lot of times you don't have the keys to these.
Right.
Josh is saying Jersey Mike's is a good suggestion for Susan. But in this little strong box, an old driver's license. Literally, I'm serious about this, folks. An old driver's license, a birth certificate, a high school diploma, W-2s and tax information, old pay stubs from previous jobs that they had, and then other miscellaneous is, I had everything.
Social Security
to become
cards.
This person. Some of that, it didn't have Social Security card, but some of that information was on, tax records and things of that nature. Taco Bell's a good suggestion. Arby's has buy one, get one sandwiches in the app. Get 2 gyros.
That's where I would go. Yeah.
Get gyros. Office Patrick is all over. Last week he told us about the deal at where was it? I forget. I'm not a big fan of the gyro because of that tzatziki sauce that they put in there. I'm not a fan. Not a fan. Arby's does sound good. A big roast beef sandwich. Maybe I'll have that for lunch. I got to run out packages right after this. Okay, let's move along. So the people get good information and get some of the fun information. How are you dealing when you find, there's personal pictures, there's personal information about the person that had the unit? How do you deal with that? Or are there any laws? Are there any rules that you are aware of?
There are laws and rules. In the state of Georgia, now I can only really speak for the state of Georgia because that's where I bought the majority of my units from, even though I have bought
Yes.
from Alabama and in Tennessee. But in the state of Georgia, legal personal documents, anything that is a personal document, photos, anything like that, is not legally sold in a storage unit. So when that
Okay.
storage unit is sold, all of those documents that you mentioned, which I have found thousands of everything that he said,
Yes.
easily, and those items, legally, I'm supposed to leave those in the unit. The only
Okay.
way I can do that is if I go through the unit right then and there. So, and normally I don't do that. I've done that with a couple of units if they've been a really, really big mess. But for me, when I go and I'm buying the unit and I'm paying for the unit at the facility, because when you buy the unit online, you have to pay for it at the facility. Okay.
Yeah.
So I take my money, I'm going there and I'll ask them, I says, what do you want me to do with the personals? Do you want them in the front office or do you want me to leave them in the storage unit?
Yeah.
And they will tell me 9 times out of
Okay.
10, they tell me dispose of them because we haven't been able to get in touch with the people, and
Yes.
or the people said, we don't want anything from the unit. So then at that point, I have to legally dispose of those items,
Okay.
which for me, I was burning them. I was telling you about
Yeah.
the burn barrel. So I would
Yes.
be taking all of those things and I would take them out to a burn barrel and I would burn them. I'm not going to throw them in the dumpster because then you don't know
Yes.
who's going to get them at the dump. I
Yes.
know our dump at one time did have a lot of prison workers in
It's
there working the dump. So
it is
generally leave
difficult
them at the
because
facility.
it shouldn't be my responsibility to take care of somebody that just abandoned a unit or quit paying,
Mm-hmm.
or in some of the circumstances you don't always know. Sometimes it's because somebody passed away and there's no
Right.
family, there's no anywhere, and that's not that person's fault that they passed away. Well,
Right.
maybe it is, but who knows what their situation was. But if somebody's
Yeah.
just
Well,
abandoning
they're in
a
prison
unit.
now. So, yeah.
Oh, you know what? Hold on, Brian. This just in. Breaking news. Domino's Pizza has a large 2-topping for only $6.99 this week. Online only. Local restrictions apply. So
Office Patrick. I like that.
you got some lunch ideas there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk. So, yeah, it's hard to deal with. It's hard to deal with some stuff. If you were getting a storage unit, keep those in mind that some of them, if you are bidding on one that you can see a refrigerator or a stove or a big bed frame or mattress, that you're going to have to remove that and you're going to have to get that someplace and dispose of it. Now, if it's stuff that's in good shape, big furniture, a washer dryer or something like that, and it's in good shape, you're going to go like Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace or something like that. We were talking about Chris, Cajun Reseller, earlier. I know that he has went into units before, actually snapped pictures of items, listed them on Facebook Marketplace, and sold them from the unit before his 48 to
Yeah.
72 hour time frame,
We've done
and
that
somebody
also.
else comes and picks it up.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I've done in some units is I go in, and whether you call it cherry picking or whatever, it is what it is. I'm going to get the items that fit in my wheelhouse for how I sell, whether it's on eBay or on whatnot, or if I'm going to Facebook Marketplace. And then I haul out all of the trash because I don't want to stick somebody with somebody else's trash. That's just me. I'm going to get rid of all the trash, sort through everything, deal with what pieces, and then I will, with everything that's left over that I can't deal with, that I can't take home, that I can't do something with, is I snap a picture of that unit and I sell the rest of the unit on Marketplace. Hey,
Yeah.
come, here's what's in here. And then I can photo everything that's in there
Yeah. And
and give
that's
people
great.
an idea.
I could actually do that for a storage unit because you can sell units online also, up
Yes.
for auctions. They're called private sales. I've bought in a private sale and I've had private sales. You've had a couple of really, really good questions. Office Patrick asked one, and Raz
Yes.
made a comment down there too.
Is an old theme park pass considered an ID? Example, I have sold old Kings Island. Kings Island is an amusement park down in the area that
Mhm.
Cincinnati area. Sold old passes from the 80s on eBay. I guess it depends. It could be if it had a person's photo on it, if it has their name or personal information. I
Also goes
assume
by
it could be,
the how old it is too, because
yeah.
you can sell driver's licenses and you can sell social security cards that are from like the early part of the 1900s, 19 hundred to about 1930 or 40. You can sell those because those people obviously have
And
passed.
Raz
So
is saying
that is one.
photos, documents in Nevada must be left unless they died or disappeared. So if the person is still around, alive, and because some people at these storage facilities, they just say, I'm done. I'm no longer paying. You deal with everything that's in there.
Yeah.
And wow, I didn't know about old Social Security cards. I have my late grandmother's old Social Security card and a
Yes, exactly.
metal
The one with the
tag
metal
like that.
tag.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Very interesting. I did not know that either. Okay, Brian, let's talk about some fun things. Okay.
All right.
The things that people want to know about, what the monies. The
Yeah.
monies. Okay.
Okay.
And we'll go through these kind of quick.
Okay.
What's the most you have ever paid for a single unit?
For a single unit, the most that I have ever paid for is just under just under $8,000. We paid for a unit. It was a 10 by
Wow.
40, and it was
Ooh.
a video game unit. We've talked about that. Ken and I have talked about that one before, and
Yeah.
I've talked about that on one of our shows. It was in Tennessee. There were 4 units that the guy had. He ended up selling 3 of them to a private seller, and then the last one went
Uh-huh.
up for auction, and we won that one. And that one was
For
just under
$8,000.
$8,000.
And I know that we talked about that, and some of that expense you had to rent a U-Haul,
I
you had
did
to get there
twice. Yeah, I had to do it
twice. You
twice.
had to get there, and I think overall you bought the unit for 8,000. You had some
Hmm.
of that buyer by the time you got your buyer's premium done. You had your
Hmm.
truck rental, your clean out. You were 10 grand
Yeah, I
for
was
this
10 in
one
on that
unit.
one.
And so okay, so this was a video game. This was, I know
Yeah,
because I've watched a lot of your shows and we've talked. This thing was
yeah.
chock full, 10 by 40, ceiling to floor, front to back with
It was 5 years
video
ago,
games.
and I still have at least 500 video games consoles,
Yeah,
and I still have that. So
500 consoles, folks, that he
yes.
has left after some. What would you say? So this is a deal that you're not going to find every day, but it's what
No,
makes
no.
storage unit stuff exciting. And if you have the capital to be able to buy a unit, or I mean, it could even be such a thing as getting a loan or running up a credit card or something. What
Well,
I
going
we've
along
talked
with
about
what you
this.
said, the
Uh-huh.
same guy that had this unit that we bought
Yeah.
had another 4 units, or was it 4, 3? I'm trying to think. It was 4. He had another 4 units at a different facility come up later, and we
Yes.
were bidding on those. And it was funny that you just mentioned what you said, because at one time we were the high bidder on all 4 units, and it would have
Uh-huh.
equated to $27,000. Now at
Yeah.
that point, I was taking a loan to get those units, but I knew what was in them because I knew from experience of buying the unit that I had before. We only ended
Uh-huh.
up getting one, which was funny because we got the cheapest one, and there were 2 of them that were 10 by 40s, and we got one of those, and we paid the cheapest. That was like $6,000, and then
Yeah.
the other ones just went stupid crazy. And I was like, I told Tracy, I said, we just can't do it. We don't, I got to store the unit. They were so big. And
Yes.
I'm still working. Like I said, 5 years ago, this is one about 5 years ago, and I still have stuff from that unit. If I would have got all of those other units, wow, I would have had to
Yeah.
pay somebody to do those.
Yeah. So Glenn is saying so many people find guns and show them on their shows and their videos. I would never show a gun I found. Have you ever found guns?
Tracy and I literally, when we first started buying storage units, I'm probably into maybe about 400 to 500 units that we have bought.
Yeah.
We have found guns in one storage unit only, and that's it. Most of the time when we find airsoft guns or air guns or something like that. But in the state of Georgia, if you find a gun, you're supposed to turn that gun over to the county that the storage facility was in.
Okay.
And they hold on to those guns and do a background check to make sure it wasn't used in a crime. And then they'll release the gun to you after that. Now,
okay, so like to your county sheriff or something.
Yes, I would never show it on a video ever that I found a gun.
Yeah. As Chris Cajun says, I can neither confirm nor deny if he found guns and ammo before. I did find
ammo. I find all the time.
In one unit, I found a bunch of really old shotgun shells with the cardboard tubes, a bunch of like 22 and 9mm shells that they were just like in a can and a bag. And I actually took those to the local police department for disposal. It's like I didn't know what to do with them. And so I contacted them and they're like, we'll take those and dispose of them properly. But I've not found a weapon.
I have a friend that is a gun aficionado, if you will, and I literally almost give them to him. And he's a lawyer too, so he knows all the laws on all of that stuff. Jeff, that's a great question.
We're gonna, what's the so we'll go to this. Jeff, Apex Chef is asking, have you ever had encounters on the property with a previous owner?
Twice.
What's to say twice? And Chris is saying, yes, Jeff, was an unsettling. Why did I pronounce it like that? Was an unsettling experience for sure.
Yeah, I've had 2 of them.
And Brian, side note, Tracy is heading out. Check your Facebook messages after you get off the show.
Alrighty.
So, just quickly, how did that go? Was it a violent? Was it a shouting match? Was it a go talk to the owners?
Well, the first one, the guy left a note on the door. We had bought the unit and it was fairly close. So Tracy and I went back to go get the trailer because we opened it up and looking at everything. And when I got back to the unit, there was a note on the door. And it said, hey, I know you bought my unit and everything like that. If you need help cleaning it out, give me a call and contact me, all of this. I'm not contacting you to help clean out your unit and put it in my truck. So I took the note up to the front office. I showed the front office and they said, he's not allowed on the property. So he must have drove in behind somebody. And the other time that it happened, the owner showed up at the facility and the facility called us. Tracy and I were on the inside of the facility. And if you ever go into a facility, they have cameras behind it. The guy was watching us take all of his stuff out of the storage unit, and he started to get violent and he started to make threats. They called the cops and they called us and they told us, stay in the building. Don't go out to your truck, because my truck's outside of the building. So it was one of those things where the storage facility did take care of me, but I've never had a physical altercation with anybody. So the facilities generally will take care of you.
Gotcha. What would you say? Okay, I'm going to go back to this one unit that you paid $8,000 for. $8,000. And we determined that you probably had 10 grand after fees, after rental, after clean out and stuff. If you want to share, because I know about where the numbers are, what did you make off of this unit? And you still have consoles.
That unit alone, Tracy and I have estimated that we've made in profit close to $120,000. It literally has paid all of our bills for the last 5 years.
Yes.
It's hard work because we have to put all of the stuff together. That
Yes.
unit alone has taken care of us, but that's what we call a one in a lifetime unit. And
Yes.
it wasn't that it was because it would, the guy did have 4 units and he had another 4, but it was one person that had all of those units, and it was a one in a
Yeah.
lifetime
That's
type of
crazy.
unit. So
That's
yeah,
just
that one
crazy.
was a big one.
Susan, by the way, went with the sub. A sub does sound good as well. She's going Jimmy
I like
John's.
Jimmy John's.
Get the Italian nightclub if you're going there. I think that's the number 9. Okay, what's the best find that, like, the whether you just thought it was neat and fun, what is the best, the most profitable single item that you have found?
The single item that we found was a bracelet. It was gold and it was solid gold. It was like about that wide. It did waves through this. We took it to a pawn shop, and the guy put his little gun on it, and he must have did it for an hour, kept coming back and forth, back and forth, back and forth because of the weight
Yeah.
and how much gold was at that time. We ended up making close to $4,000 on just that one
That's
item.
cool. So see,
Yeah.
those types of things are in there. Those types of
Yeah.
things are in units, and it's just so surprising to me. And of course, you never know somebody's circumstances,
Mhm.
why a unit was abandoned, but a $4,000 gold bracelet.
Yeah. It shocked us. And Trace, it was right before
Yeah.
we were going to Vegas too. So we were
Oh,
using that
nice.
money for Vegas spending money. And I kept throwing these $1,000 stacks on the table. And Tracy was just
That's
freaking out
cool.
about that.
Yeah, Susan went with the nightclub, the Italian nightclub, and Jill says, "Yeah, it's like we're related. We have the same thoughts." What is a surprise find? Now, that's obviously, you when you're buying a unit, you look in the pictures, but you can't see in every box, you can't see in every bag, or it's there.
No.
And maybe that last thing, what was your best surprise find or something that was neat? It's like, "Ooh, I didn't know this was in there."
There's 2 of them that I have. One of
Okay.
them, one time we bought a unit and it was trash bags, and we call it a filler unit. When I get a
Okay.
unit and I say, okay, I'm going to have to rent a truck for that unit, and I'm going to want another unit just to help fill the truck. And it was like a $10 or $20 unit, and it was all bags. We get these bags, and in the bag is nothing but navy beans from Publix, a supermarket. And it
Okay.
was, I mean, we're talking probably 800 pounds of, not 800 pounds, probably
Wow.
about 100 pounds of these bags of navy bean. And then we moved like one of the bags, and inside we find water purification system that Tracy sold for $200 that day.
Nice.
On eBay. She did it on eBay too. She took pictures of
Very
it,
cool.
listed it, and we sold it that day. And another one was a $10 unit that we bought. And the only reason why we bought it is because it had some furniture, and we were light on furniture at the time. And so we bought this unit, and we take it back, and it has about a 4-foot, 5-foot tall JBL 100 party box machine that we sold
Yes,
for
I
$800.
remember seeing that.
Yeah,
in your
that one
videos.
was awesome. That one was awesome.
Yeah.
So and we found a stripper pole in one of the unit.
Nice.
You sold it for $2,000. Tracy says she sold it for $2,000. I didn't.
$2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
on a $10
it was
unit.
in navy beans. Yeah, it was 10 or 20. It was a filler unit,
Yeah.
though. We had bought a different unit.
Yeah,
That
that
was
sounds like a
big one.
doomsday prepper. The guy that had all the beans. In
Yeah,
there.
I
Yeah,
don't
I
know
don't
how long
understand
they
the
stay.
food. Okay, let's talk about okay, I've went through a lot of my questions. I don't know if I did 10 or not. Maybe I need to structure this a little better. I need to structure, but I'm enjoying just talking about the storage units. Hopefully people are getting some good information
I hope
about
so.
what to expect if you were wanting to get a unit. Of course, your mileage may vary. You live in a different state, there may be different rules. You live in a different area, you might, look in those photos. Let's talk about some of the things like that we're finding. What is the most disgusting thing because
Oh
they're
God.
not, a lot of
Yeah.
the times in these units that I've found, the mice have got there long before you ever got there. And there's just mouse droppings everywhere. There's they people that leave food in their units, or they, I don't know why they have piles of food and candy and all of this
Which
stuff,
every
and the
unit that
mice
we
just
go
eat it
to,
up.
there's a big sign that says, "Do not store food or gasoline. You're
And
not allowed to
there's,
store those things."
yeah, and I have
It's
found
going
both.
away. Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, we Tracy and I actually
What's
name our storage units when we get them, like with what you're saying. Like we have one that's called the rat locker, that we go in
okay?
there and literally you're walking on the ground and you cannot see the ground. There were so many rats in it that the rat droppings just literally took over
Yeah.
the whole floor of the unit. Then we had rats and cash, where we actually had a live rat in the unit. That, of course, Tracy finds that it pops out of a box, scared her half to death. She screamed
And
so loud that we thought the cops were going to come because they thought I was probably killing her or something. So then
gonna
she
leave
had to
her
go
for dead in
outside
the
and say,
unit.
"He's not killing me." So, we had rats and cash, where we
Yeah.
ended up finding cash in Bibles, cash in books, cash in, one time we got
Wait a minute. We're
file cabinet.
talking about the most disgusting thing. You
Oh,
found
most
cash?
disgusting thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
we found cash.
Jill
That was
says
in rats and
absolutely
cash.
not. And everybody seems to be most excited about the stripper pole.
We
Got a
still
lot of
have it.
comments there
We
on the
have it.
stripper
It
pole.
came in one of the first units we had. We
We
still
don't
have
want
it.
to know what you do with that, or if it was
It's in
mounted in the
Tennessee
bedroom.
now. It's in Tennessee
Okay.
now. It's up in. We did
Oh,
a thing, but probably the most disgusting thing we have found, I would say two. One of them is, those hamburger rolls that they have, the ground beef that you get in the
yeah, yeah,
freezer
yeah,
section of the
yeah.
refrigerator. Well, we found one of those in a storage unit,
Ah,
and
yeah.
obviously a storage unit's got to be delinquent 3 months before they can sell it. So that was one that we found in a unit. And the other one was, those sandwiches that you get at a gas station that are in the little triangle pack, uh,
Yeah.
like
Uh-huh.
those.
Yeah.
Well, we found one of those in a storage unit, and Tracy grabbed it, and it was in a plastic bag, and it had no texture at all. She just went like
Yeah.
straight to her fingers, and oh my gosh,
Oh, it's
she
kind of like finding a peach, an old peach under somebody's front
yes.
seat. I'm not going to tell who that was when I was trying to clean out, but it's adult items. Yes, Glenn. I actually
Yeah,
did
every
a
unit. Yeah.
show on here about some adult items. It
Oh
was really
yeah.
fun. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll
Oh
just tell
yeah.
that part real quick. There was one box. They had all the boxes that were marked like living room. Like these people were either in the middle of moving or something. Living room. This is the kitchen. This is the bathroom cabinets.
Mhm.
Johnny's clothes, whatever. But one was marked dad stuff, and it had razors and knives and stuff like that. But the other box, it said mom's stuff on the side, and then under it they had written sex toys. Oh yeah, they like wrote oh yeah out, and there were literally mom's sex toys were in there.
Here's when Ken's
So
get
of course
demonetized.
I lined them all up on a because I'm all the time asking Jill when I'm in the units, is there anything you're looking for? Is there anything you're looking for? Or I'll take a
Mhm.
picture and say, she's like, oh no, look for this, look for this. And so I laid them all out on a table. There were ones with batteries, there were ones with cords to them, there were suction cups, there was all, and so I took a picture
Yeah.
and I sent it to Jill. I was like, do you need any of these? Surprisingly, she kept them all. So
Oh
no.
no. Ken, now I'm going to be up there in about a week. I want to make sure that you're not black and blue or anything like that.
Yes, I'm probably going to be. I'll tell you, one of the, not the grossest thing that I found, because yeah, I find all of that food and all of this
Yeah.
disgusting stuff, but you are dumb, she says.
See, I can't.
Donate them to a church sale. All of the adult toys. But I go to did they end up on a bowling ball? They did, Chris. in Jill's front yard.
There's the other disgusting
Here,
one.
let me get you big. Look at this. Look
The
at this,
rat
folks.
carcass. That was
A
in the
rat
last unit
carcass.
that we found. Yeah.
Um, but okay, so I go into this one unit one day and I lift up the big door. It's an outdoor unit. I lift up the big door and I hear something drop behind me. And I'm like, oh, did something fall out? And I turn around. There's a damn live snake. There's a live snake laying there. It must have been like in the trough of the inside of
Uh-huh.
the door, hiding in there. And so I lifted it up and he fell down on the ground. I'm like, holy crap, there's a live snake. And he slithered off. And Raz had a dead skunk
Oh man.
in one of it. That would suck. Hazmat shoot, get ready, no kidding.
Ken, it
All we
sounds
get
to me like you literally have a podcast almost strictly devoted to what people find in
what people
storage units. And
you
you have
could.
all of these other folks
Okay.
over there that would just be awesome.
And we're gonna try to finish this up. I don't know question I'm on or whatever.
Yeah.
But here's a question I have from you. Being an experienced storage unit person or whatever. Hold on, I'm looking for okay, so Jill sent me this photo when Chris had asked if one of the adult toys ended up on a bowling ball. It did.
Oh, yes.
I put it on a bowling ball, a one that had a big suction cup on it, and I put it in Jill's plantings out front.
Oh my gosh.
Question, Brian,
Yes.
for you. You've done this for many a years, you and Tracy.
Yes.
And so maybe you can shed some light for me and for the folks that are listening. What's that smell?
Oh God.
That's
Yes.
Tracy had
man.
said way back in the beginning of this, and I didn't pull up the comment. One of the things is just what's that smell?
Yeah, when you're at a live auction, you have the benefit of being able to smell the storage unit. Of course, everybody is looking for the cigarette smell when you're buying a storage unit. They open it up. Believe me, you cannot get cigarette smell out of anything. Okay, you can wash that thing a million times, but the other one is straight up urine. Oh my God! And I'm not talking about rat urine. I'm talking about human urine smell. When they open up a unit and there's mattresses in it and you're just sitting there thinking, going, oh my God, I would do anything not to have that unit right now, but I already bought it if I buy it on there live. But yeah, the rat smell is bad. The urine smell is bad.
Just horrible. Old, after a while, old wet cardboard. Okay, I don't understand.
That
storage
beef,
unit,
that ground beef too. Oh,
yes,
that was bad.
I don't know, like in a unit that maybe has been closed up for quite a while. Why are the clothes wet? It's inside. Do you ever get like into a bag and then like the clothes are just? It's like they did the laundry and but didn't put them in the dryer, and then they're just like a bag of wet clothes.
Now,
yes,
I don't know if
clothes.
you know this. But have you ever gone into a unit and stuff is wrapped in a blanket and then the blanket is tied?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what that is?
No.
That's an eviction. Those people were evicted out of their apartment. And what happens is the eviction company goes in. The first thing they do is they hit the closet for all of those blankets. They lay the blankets out and they just throw everything. It doesn't matter what it is. They throw it all on the blankets. They tie the blankets and then they throw it out on the curb. And then the people come and they get their stuff and it's like, oh, snap, all my stuff's on the curb. They grab it and then they go rent a storage unit. And then obviously they didn't pay their rent in their apartment, so they're not going to pay the rent in the storage unit.
They're not going to pay it.
That's how they get it. We've had a couple of those too, but generally that's what that is that we call it an eviction unit. when you get one, and you
And-
could tell that they took a drawer, because I think, does everybody have a junk drawer in their house?
Oh yeah, I got
Yeah.
several.
They just take it and they dump everything in it, and then they just shove the drawer back in. But yeah,
Oh, you know one thing? I think everybody in a storage unit that has ever rented a storage unit has one of those rent the like a tire iron thing, the X crossed, what are those
yes,
called? You know, like it has 4 different sizes of
the lug
socket on
wrench,
the X, the big, yeah, a big lug wrench.
the big lug wrench. Yeah,
I figure you could go into a unit that has like is filled with Barbie dolls and stuffed animals and frilly dresses, and over in the corner is going to be one of those X lug wrenches.
for us it
I'm
was
getting a
office
collection.
chairs. We had
Uh,
office chairs. It was like, how do I have an office chair? This unit had nothing but bags in it, and we would lift the bags up, and there was an office chair, and I was like, what?
Tracy
is this?
touched a wet plush in the Nashville bins and still haven't washed her hands enough. Jill has a junk basement, a junk garage, and a junk extra room. I get lots of those, and hammers. Yes, lots of tools, lots
Yep.
of hammers. Here's another question for you to get finished up. Where are all the lids?
Yeah.
How many totes that you
I'm on
find that just don't have or there'll be like 3 or 4 totes and 3 or 4 lids, and none of them match. They don't go. It's like, what happened to the lids that the lids from the totes that don't have lids, and what happened to the totes from the lids that don't have totes?
I will say,
I-
go ahead.
I can't figure it out. Where's the lids?
I'm agreeing with you 100 million %, and I will tell you, I have probably loaded my trailer with more plastic tubs and plastic tub
Yeah.
lids and taking that all straight to the dump than almost anything else. But when you get those lids that are in the tubs that are in good condition with the lids, sell those
Yeah.
on Facebook Marketplace,
Oh.
and I swear I'm not even half the price that you could get them brand new. I'm
Yeah.
over that, and people will still buy them in like an hour.
Yeah. That's the one thing that I've liked so far is
Yeah, right,
getting
Chris.
all of the extra tubs. Yeah, missing lids and missing socks. We will meet them in heaven.
Yes.
Totes sell well on Marketplace. Right now, I've been utilizing a lot of the totes. I'll bring them home, I'll get like a whole stack of them, and then I'll spend a couple of hours out in the driveway with the hose, and I'll, spray them all down and clean them up so that I can use them. Well,
Yeah.
which reminds me, Chris Cajun, what is that word that you use for items that you find in the storage units that you use yourself? Because I find a ton of cleaning supplies.
Yes.
I find a ton
Yeah.
of, just items and stuff, but things that you would normally be going out and buying, wrapped paper towels and stuff.
For us, it was body wash. Oh my gosh, and it's sealed,
Yeah.
all new and sealed body
Yes,
wash.
only if it's new and sealed
Usage
and stuff like
profits.
that.
I
For sure.
love that.
Yes, I love that term because it is a profit from a storage unit. If you can bring home cleaners and bleach and things of that nature that you would
Mhm.
normally have to go out and buy, that is it is profit. And I love that term that Chris uses is usage profit.
Yeah.
And we need to
call
kind of
them-
finish
I
up.
forget what we call them.
We were talking about smells there earlier when I said, what's that smell?
Yeah.
And I had a note. Yes, there are some smells that you're just not going to get out. Even though it's like, oh, this is a really great piece and I want to get that out. Some cleaning. Do you have an ozone generator though?
Do I? I
Yeah.
do not.
Great tool, great thing to have to take out smells from certain items, from clothing, from you can get out of old books, you can get freshen stuff up. But I have an ozone generator that I use. Sometimes I just run it in the garage or in my office, just open air, because after you've stacked a
Hi,
lot of
Glenn.
that stuff in there. Hey, see you, Glenn. Have a good afternoon. Thank you. Good.
Yeah.
I appreciate you being here. Tracy, this show is foreshadowing for next weekend for us. Yeah, we're going to finish up here, Brian.
So.
One last.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, we were halfway through, and I said, Ken, maybe we should just cut this into two segments.
Yeah, we'll see.
And it'd be five, Ken with 5.
But hopefully people are getting some good information, and we're having fun here, and I'm learning some stuff as well. What are your thoughts? Here's a good storage unit question. Not really. What are your thoughts on Tony Orlando and Don?
I like them.
Okay. Then moving on. Yeah. So this is fun. What's up, Angie? Perfectly blessed.
Oh,
perfectly,
Angie.
And that has an L in it. Perfectly blessed.
Perfectly blessed. I love Angie.
Yes. There, right. We got double the Angie, double the fun right there. Perfectly blessed and Angie resales. Is there any questions? Is there any questions that people have in the chat that they would like to know about storage units? I know Angie Resales had asked that question earlier about, getting rid of stuff. Okay, all of these units, let's talk real quick, Brian. When you're buying a unit for a reason, because you are going to resell. And where are you getting rid of all of this stuff? Tony, Orlando, and Jan, somebody that's a mod, kick Raz out right now. Nah, please don't do it. Please don't do it. I love Tony.
Look, am I lagging?
Orlando and Don right back there. Is there any questions? Yes, you are lagging, I think. At least it seems that way on my end.
Yeah, mine was the same on your end. I could see you lagging, but I didn't know if I was. If I was, I apologize.
If there's no last questions, oh, there we go. There was another usage profit. Raz says, I once had a locker with 36 fertilizer bags buried under a pile. I was going to buy fertilizer anyway. Best $5 locker. Yeah, 36 bags of fertilizer. How much money did you save in that? I'm not coining the term. I am giving Cajun Reseller full credit on the term of usage profit. Why
not
is
me. I'm
the
gonna steal
sky blue? Jeff wants to know. Why do zebras have stripes? What's Vietnam, Daddy?
I have a lot of people ask me if I was in Vietnam when they see my military hat.
Now the chat's just messing with us. How much is that doggy in the window?
Yes.
You know, the one with the waggly tail? Man, I sure hope that dolly's for sale. $195 in usage profit. There you go.
Yeah, definitely right.
Brian, I'll be seeing Brian and Tracy next week. They're coming up to Ohio. We talked about that earlier. Looking forward to that. That's going to be fun. It's also fun. Listen to me. Next Sunday is Father's Day. So if you want to find something really cool for your father, hit up Jack's Treasures
this one
or
is
SSK
upcoming or
promo.
the second one?
It's not this Sunday, but the 15th, June 15th is Father's Day.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. You said this Sunday. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I messed up.
Yeah.
Oh, Angie asked a question. Here we go. What makes a unit stand out, one compared to others, without any obviously high dollar items visible? What would you be looking for, Brian?
Question.
Yes, excellent question.
Some of the things that I look for are things like I want to see leaves on the ground. If I see leaves on the ground, I know it's an outdoor unit, and that means outdoor units are going to have more pests in there, and they're going to have the high likelihood of having animals getting in there or anything like that. I look for how clean the unit is. Are there any markings on the boxes? Mom's jewelry. Not mom. Oh yeah, not that, but mom's jewelry, delicates, fragile. We bought a unit one time that the box said Elvis's stuff or Elvis stuff on it. So you'll look at boxes, see if they're labeled. Are they taped? because if they're not taped, the people could have gotten into the unit and taken some stuff out. Yes, what are the boxes from? Are they from the storage facility? Are they from Home Depot or Lowe's or Menards or wherever it may be? Or are they wine boxes? Wine boxes tend to, for me to believe, those are people that didn't have a lot of money they didn't buy storage boxes. They went and got them from in front of a liquor store, because that's where they put them. So those are some of the things that we look for. Is it organized and the box is stacked? Is a box on the top crushing a box on the bottom? That lets me know that that box on the top probably has paperwork or books, which neither one of them I particularly want. So those are some of the other things. Are the tubs clean, and are they crushed, or things of that nature? How much money do they spend putting the stuff in there? Lets me know how much they value the items that were in the item.
Yeah, that's exactly. Banana boxes do not buy. Yeah, excellent question, Angie. And I'm going to just kind of reiterate some of the stuff that Brian said there is if the units if it is clean, if everything is stacked neatly, because there's a lot of units that you open that door and the stuff is just piled with no rhyme or reason. That person didn't care about that stuff and they just threw it in there. So is there a lot of plastic tubs rather than just regular boxes? Yeah, the cleanliness of it overall. And so you can take a chance on something that has nice tubs and that looks clean and over. But of course, there's always that surprise. You never know how people are. And if you can get maybe even a unit that's in disarray or is a little bit dirty, but you can get it for a good, cheap price. I always look, is there big furniture? Is there shit in there that I'm going to have to move, that I'm going to have to deal with? If it's all boxes, tubs, and bags, that's a whole lot easier than if you see a bed frame, a mattress, and a refrigerator in the corner. I'm just, unless there's something so stellar that I can see in the photos, just going to pass. Yeah,
we're passing on a lot of the ones that have the mattresses, because mattresses have an added fee when you take them to the dump. Like in our area, it's an extra $10, which is very cheap, but that's a $10 on top of my dump fee. So my dump fee might be $20 plus every single mattress is $10 added on top of that.
What is your dump fee?
It's usually I get the first 500 pounds for $20. And then if I have mattresses, they won't take tires and they won't take paint. And I can bring in scrap metal and throw that in a different area, but I don't get anything from it. There is a scrap yard that I go to, and I drop a lot of stuff like refrigerators and washers and dryers that just won't sell. I'll take those to a scrap yard, but after replacing my tires for the 15th millionth time, I don't do that anymore either. I just try to take it to the dump.
Because I think in my area, I actually haven't went out to, we have the dump, or what they call a transfer station, which is big building. You pull in, you dump it all out on the floor, and they scoop it up and put it in a semi and take it to somebody else's town.
That's what they do here too. Yeah.
But from what I understand, it's like $80 minimum. Like you start at $80 for up to so much. I have to go out and investigate that a little bit more, but that's $80 right off the top, that to get rid of stuff.
I can imagine some of that.
There are some hazmat days here in our area as well, where you can get rid of paint and old TVs and things of that nature. In Apex, we have a convenience center. What's a convenience center, Jeff?
Yeah, I don't know.
We need to get done. We need to get done.
Yeah.
I've got stuff to do this afternoon. Brian, you've got stuff to do this afternoon.
I got some shows today on Whatnot.
Yes. Looking forward to seeing, of course, I'll be on next Wednesday. This show, I'm not sure, as far as a 10 versus, or a 10 with Ken, I kind of got way off on the question. I need to shorten this up on the topics and stuff, but it was a good trial. And Brian, I appreciate you, my friend, being here with me and talking about
Wouldn't miss
dump
it.
euphemism is it could be okay. Yes, after you check your Facebook message as soon as you're done.
Thank you,
So
Jill, because I
if
would have
there's
forgot.
if there's no other questions about storage units that we might be able to shed some light on, we're going to get out of here. So
If you do have
Brian,
any questions too, you can leave them in the comments later after Ken puts this up as
yes,
a standalone video. You can check those out there too.
yes. And look at that. Apex Jeff got not only a nap, but 22 items cross listed during this marathon show. Brian, tell the people one more time where they can find you and what you're doing.
We on YouTube, we are Jack's Treasures on YouTube, and we have a podcast that we release every single Sunday called What Not Another Reselling Podcast at noon. Then we do a show on Monday where we talk about storage units, Whatnot Wednesday, which will be today. And we do a lot of videos. I'm on Whatnot, also Jack's Treasures on Whatnot. So you can check us out on any of those places right there. Jack's Treasure Trove on Instagram.
Oh, I took him off completely. What the heck was I doing? Okay, everybody, thanks for hanging out with us today.
Yeah,
The weather is
definitely.
getting nicer around here in Ohio. It's actually almost 82 right now, and nice
Wow,
day.
you're hotter than we
Um,
are. We are 80 right now. I'm looking at ours.
and enjoy your week, everybody. And we
Yes,
will
Angie,
catch you
I'm a
next
reseller.
time on. Yeah, he is. He does do stuff every now and then.
Not very good at it.
We'll see you next week on Ken versus 10, and
Ken will.
hopefully sometime soon with, let me put this back up there. Hopefully with 10 with Ken. That's a pretty good looking logo, I think. Goes along with the
I
image.
like it. I like it.
So enjoy your week, everyone, and we will catch you soon. Goodbye.